Today we're going to make a tier list of Mewgenics classes and what I think of them. Uh, First, let's start with Tank. Tank is a very versatile class. He can just take a lot of hits and protect your allies with a bunch of good abilities. I like the Pet Rock passive though, because I love summoning stuff, and there's a lot of abilities that summon rocks. So because of that, he's just more versatile, and you can use him either as like a summoning build, as a protector, as like good brace. So I'd personally put him in A tier, but I also think that every class in this game is good, but there's just some that are worse than others. Actually, no, I'm gonna put him in B tier because some stuff is lacking about him. Now, Fighter. Fighter is a class that's pretty good. He can do decent damage with his abilities, and he can get in there and do a lot of damage. But the only downside with Fighter is I actually can't see like a downside. The only like real downside is that he can't really do damage to specific enemies, but not every class can do damage to specific enemies. Like same with Hunter. It can't do damage to any specific enemies because it just can't. This guy cannot do damage to most range enemies because it can't get close enough to do damage, or whenever it does do damage to those, it can usually get shot and then take more damage. So yeah, that and because it is so quick, it usually takes more damage, so it can't really, and they usually don't have as much HP as a tank, so they usually either die or you just kill everything and you massacre it all. So because of that, I'm just gonna put it in A tier. Now Hunter. Hunter is a good class. I don't know why people say it's bad. It's still versatile. You can use it a lot more if it's like a ranged ability. It's a ranged class. It's like the only one in this game that's really ranged besides Monk, and is Mo- Monk is melee and ranged, but Monk does less damage. He, Hunter is one of those classes I think is extremely good if you know how to use it. And by that I mean it's really easy to use, but if you do not know how to use it properly, some of the builds will just fall flat. But 75% of the builds of Hunter are good, and then the other 25 are just garbage. So yeah, I would personally put Hunter in A tier, but I would put it above the Fighter. So yeah, Mage, I don't know what to think about it ever since the patch. It used to be, it used to be garbage, but now it's decent and it's above average. I would personally put Mage in C tier because its magical attacks are decent if you have a way to buff magic damage, but it's not really good for damage overall. So yeah, and the passives are not that good. So see you go. Cleric. Cleric is a good supporting class whenever you first start off, and it later in the game it kind of falls off because you don't really need healing that much late game as long as you know how to play the game right. So yeah, but it still is good overall. But if you know how to heal in an area, it's still decent. And Cleanse is such a good spell that because of that, I have to put it in S tier just because of Cleanse. If Cleanse did not exist, I'd put this in A or even B. But because Cleanse exists, it's such a good class, I just can't ignore that. Now, Thief. Thief is a good class if you just want to get in there and do damage like the Fighter. But also, Thief is not that tanky usually. So because of that, they usually die quickly. But if you can use them like Backstab or Nail Fury, it's pretty decent. And if you can't, then it's not that good. But besides that, it's decent overall. So and I would say A tier as well. Necromancer. I used to think this class was goated. It's not really that much. It's decent if for Eternal Servitude, such a good spell, but besides Eternal Servitude, all the passes where he dies, if you have like Death Mask or another thing that causes him to die, or Neck Brace that protects you, or whatever it's called, that protects you from taking injuries, then he's pretty good. But if you don't have either of those, then he's just a mediocre class. But So yeah, I'm gonna have to put him in B tier. Druid, Druid is so broken in this game. They need they need to nerf Druid, in my opinion. I like Druid. I find them fun. I don't use them much though, because it feels like cheating to me. So yeah, and also this ranking is mostly just my opinion on the classes, and by that I mean like how how fun I think they are and how good they are. Because of that, I'm just gonna put if for the power of this class, I have to put in S tier. But I also just think it's good, especially if you can spawn squirrels and use Hamburger Time or Suicide Squad, which is the passive that makes it where you can blow up your guys and do 8 damage pop. It's upgraded to 12 damage, and that's pretty decent. And it applies to burn 2 if upgraded, burn 1 if not. And because of that, it's pretty good if you can have a bunch of squirrels and other stuff. And all the champion abilities with Druid are pretty decent. But if you don't have any of those, then it's not that good. Tink Tinkerer. I pulled a 180 with this class ever since the patch. I used to think it was D tier because it sucked, in my opinion. I just didn't know how to use it, but now I'm putting it in SS tier because now that I know how to use it, it's so much fun and it's so good to use. But it takes a lot of challenge and difficulty to use it. But if you do know how to use it, it's so good. So yeah, because of that, I have to put in SS tier because you can buff your damage for your weapon, which is already broken because most weapons are broken in this game. You can also make it where, oh, you can craft multiple weapons, and then you can take that one weapon that was very good that you just got have the curse ability, and then take that on your next, take it to like the boss fight, take it like a house boss fight, do a bunch of damage for that, and just kill everything. So yeah, that's good. And then that's just very good. It stacks up very well, and I enjoy it a lot. Now, Butcher. If I'm being completely honest, Butcher is just a better tank. It does everything tank can do, but just better. And it knows how to and it can heal itself with the meat. And if you do not want healing, you can also just summon a bunch of flies, which that is very helpful for all the other fights. So yeah, that's very good. Now, Psychic. If I'm being completely honest, Psychic is a very good class when it comes to support, and if you know how to use him very smart, if you're very good at Psychic and know how to use it very good and you're intelligent with him, then he can be one of the best classes in the game when it comes to being a support class, because he can buff people's turns, make them have more, and if you, in some select builds, if you have low charisma and high intelligence, you can do a bunch of damage with sparkles. And if you can buff your magic damage with like, I don't know, brain gut with 6, and I'm calling it that. Don't tell me that's not called that. Then it is very good. But if you do not have a way to buff your magic damage, then it's decent overall, but it's not that good. But it still is pretty good as a class. I would put in SS tier with Tinkerer. I personally think it's my favorite class in the game, so that's probably because that also helps. That's also bias because it's my favorite class, but I also just think it's very fun to play, and if you know how to use it, it's very good. And if you don't, then it's just decent. So yeah, Monk. Monk is very broken in some aspects and very not in others. Half the runs with Monk range from okay, this is the best class ever to this just sucks. This legit just sucks. Yeah, most of my runs are just this is the most broken class ever, but half the time you can also get bad classes. If you get Apprentice with it, then you're just good to go because you basically just win because Apprentice is such a good spell. So yeah, so because of that, in I gotta put in SS tier with Psychic and Tinkerer because I just find it very fun to play as, and you can just use it very well. Now Jester. Jester, if we're just ranking the passives itself, then it would be an S tier. But because we're not ranking the passive itself and we're ranking the class itself, we also have to consider the abilities that are exclusive to it and the randomness of it. Because it's like the randomness of it, I'm just gonna put it in A tier because it can range from being, oh, this is the best class out of every class to this is the worst class out of every class very easily. So I'm just gonna put it in A tier. All the other classes they can range from that. And none of the classes I put in D tier or even F, because all the classes in this game are pretty good, but some are better than others, as you can clearly see.